I had gone out with a bucket of water to the balcony. And as I was about to pour water, a pigeon came and flew past my face, just inches away from my face. And that's when I looked around, for it had come from behind a pot. And while we encourage the pigeons and other birds to take shelter from the storm, the rain, we're not as enthusiastic about them building a nest there. You are in conversation with spiritual visionaries Tarun and Celia Cherian, co-founders, Creator's Child and Devadhara Healing. But as I looked behind the pot, I saw something and it just melted my heart. Tiny little pigeon just hatching, struggling comically to get out of its shell. There were two conflicting emotions happening. One, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And for the next few weeks, we're going to be having pigeon shit all over our balcony. So many emotions, the innocence of it, the struggle to live, and the sheer messiness of nature all came together. Now, you may be turning around and saying, hey, hello, Tarun and Celia, you've called us on false pretenses. This is supposed to be a podcast about gurus, Guru Sutras. So what's the relevance of this rambling story to gurus? Have patience. And that's when the mama pigeon came back and evicted me from our balcony. And I went in and complained to Celia, oh God, those pigeons have built another nest. And I showed her the footage. She too delighted in the little pigeon struggling to get out of its shell, almost like a clown in the circus. All this made us look at the aura of the hatchling, and wow, was it something. And it is absolutely magical. Wrapped in pinks, yellows, greens, blues. Also strong earth energies of purple below. There's a very dark, heavy, grim rain that has been happening in Bangalore and South India. It's October. As we cuddle up with our blankets, we spared a little thought for the pigeon chick and the pigeon mama. So the next day when I went, I went out there and peered to see if the pigeon mama was there. And she was very strongly there, ensconced in the nest. I came back a few hours later. The feeling was very different. And when I peered in, I saw that it was still and unmoving. It had died. Because then we could see maggots coming out of it. Death on earth is difficult. But when it's a baby, it's infinitely worse. The pigeon mama and papa were obviously devastated. We buried the little chick, and then Celia and I took a good look at its aura. As you can see, the aura divided into two. Darker elements that are becoming part of the earth, and higher elements that are dancing with light. Nishiganta Nirgupkar, a great friend of ours and a brilliant spiritualist, posed a question just the other day. She'd saved a butterfly from her kittens, opened the window, and the butterfly had gaily flown out of the window. And as it did so, mere seconds later, a crow swooped down and snapped up the butterfly. And Nishi's question really it's a question raised by many great spiritual teachers. What is the point of it all? And the truth is, each of us must wrestle with the questions ourselves. But a quick answer is that life cannot be measured by its length, but life can be measured by its joy. Life can be measured by the sparkle it adds to the soul. So that's when we decided to examine what was happening in this particular situation. And we realized that there was something very unusual about the whole thing. Both the little chick and the mama pigeon both had strong past life issues that needed to be resolved. With the little pigeon chick, it had been a kind of a mouse, and it had literally eaten a lizard up half alive and then cast it aside, and the lizard had freed itself and gone and hidden in a corner and died slowly, painfully, bitten by ants. And so there was a need for the pigeon hatchling to see both sides of the prey-predator game. And the pigeon also had a past life issue. It had been a cat and it had devoured a mouse. But the mouse had little babies and they had died out of starvation, and well, they too were eaten by ants. Now, that's a grim side of it. But the other side of it is beautiful. Because after we escorted the little pigeon hatchling higher up and placed it, we could see it dance around and laugh around and giggle away like a butterfly. And it could see the entire life which it did not live. And it was chuckling away, and it is still chuckling away there. And right now it is being pulled in two directions. Should it become a butterfly? Should it be a cockroach? Should it be a hawk? Or something else? And what about the pigeon mama and the pigeon papa? Well, there's something very special for them. Especially, I think, the pigeon mama. Now, as I was discussing all this, a great divine being that looks after many birds, a huge white bird, came and sat on my hand and kept yanking it up and down. And then when I finally got it, I realized that the pigeon mama was going to become the equivalent of a human guru. So then I said, hey, hello, what will a pigeon guru do? And that's when a lot of the inner spirits looked at me and said, as if to say, you moron, what do you do? The pigeon mama guru would do a lot what we do, but with less yarn. So I kept pestering and saying, okay, now, yeah, all that's fine, but tell me, what would it really do? So they gave 2 or 3 concrete examples what it could do. And one is it would create a kind of a ritual where there's a kind of a behavior of birds which you call the murmuration of birds, where all the birds take off at the same time and go and do some, ballet in the air. So this bird would lead or trigger off many of those murmurations, allowing the flock to get to know each other and to reinforce their sense of existence, the validity of their community, the freedom of their being. The second thing which was told to me was that it would be able to sense weather much better than most pigeons and therefore warn the rest. And lastly, it would actually be able to talk to the elements to some extent and therefore shift the weather in some ways. Now that is something few human gurus can do. If you would like to take a deeper dive into all the fascinating subjects we talked about, life, birth, reincarnation, auras, do pick up your copy of the Chronicle of Death and Rebirth. You'll find it very interesting. Thank you for subscribing to our channel, visiting creativechild.com, and growing with God.